The orange is iconic.
We spent about a week going through 40 shades of orange to pick the perfect orange.
What has it been like for you working with Michael Saylor, and have you guys had any fights?
We had a lot more tension running a software company. Naturally, we'll have differences in product strategy, in marketing strategy, in people strategy. He's a different people person than I am. He's an evangelist. He evangelizes better than anybody in the world.
What is it actually like to live a life transformed by Bitcoin?
Yeah, go high, go low, go wide, go deep, talk to customers, have people yelling at you because they don't like you, have people, saying such great things to you because they love you. That, to me, that's excitement. To truly understand Bitcoin, you have to open your mind. My greatest accomplishment was orange pilling my sister-in-law. But once people are willing to do the work, willing to understand the technology, understand the economics, understand the social and political positivities of Bitcoin, they all come around. I'm excited to be here. Let's toast to your first podcast.
Yeah. Hi guys, welcome to the first ever episode of my new podcast, the Bitcoin Lifestyle Podcast. I'm Thea, aka Professor B, and I'm so excited to start this new journey with you. I've had the most exciting conversations with so many different people within this industry, and I can't wait to share with you guys. This podcast is going to be all about the people. There will be no talks of charts, no talks of numbers, purely a Bitcoin human podcast. If you are new to Bitcoin, curious about Bitcoin, or you've been in Bitcoin for a while now, but you just want to be a little bit nosy and know more about the people behind Bitcoin, then this is the podcast for you. Anyways, I'm so excited to introduce you to my first guest. He is the man who is in the thick of it all with the institutions, with the corporations, Mr. Phong Lee, CEO of Stragedy. Stragedy is the world's #1 corporate holder of Bitcoin, and might I say, the genesis of the Bitcoin treasury playbook. Back in 2020, chairman and founder Michael Saylor did the bold move of moving his company from a fiat standard to a Bitcoin standard. And that has created this whole movement of adopting Bitcoin, putting it in your balance sheet, and creating financial tools and different derivatives of Bitcoin on the capital markets. This is a big thing, guys. They have over 597,000 Bitcoin and growing. Phong Lee has been at the company for over 10 years. He started in 2015, transitioned from CFO to CEO, and he has been there throughout the whole transformation. We listened to his story, how he came to Bitcoin, and also what it's been like for him transitioning a company of over 1,000 employees onto a new Bitcoin standard. What's that reaction been like? And yeah, what's his family reaction? All this and more. But before we get into the video, please subscribe, follow, like, comment, share, do all the good things, because this is a new journey for me, and I'm very excited to share more of these conversations and these videos behind the scenes with you guys. Please support me so that I know that you guys like it, and then I can do more of these videos. Thank you so much, and let's go. Hello guys, welcome to the Bitcoin Lifestyle Podcast. This is the very first episode, and you're here with me, Professor B, aka Thea, and I am sitting here with the CEO of Stragedy, Mr. Phong Lee. I'm so excited. Are you excited?
I'm excited to be here. Let's toast to your first podcast.
Yeah, let's toast. Okay, yeah. So they got me this beer. I don't know what it is.
Oh, we're in the Stragedy Lounge, and we have Stragedy Brew. We've got Stragedy Ping Pong, Stragedy Pool.
You got like
the Stragedy sign. It's all Stragedy all the time.
It's a new rebrand, right?
It is.
Yeah. When did the new rebrand launch? Like how?
We did this February 6th.
Okay.
And we got a new sign on the building. We just did all this stuff, and it's been incredible. And you saw it last week at Stragedy World.
Yeah, I know. The orange is iconic. A lot of people asking me, is this the Bitcoin orange? It's slightly different. It's actually a slightly different orange. Right?
We spent about a week going through 40 shades of orange to pick the perfect orange.
Yeah.
And it's slightly darker because I think the Bitcoin orange is a little bit orange yellow. This is much more leaning into the richness and the boldness of the orange.
Goes with the bold courage, the strategy.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to get into it. Because this is the first episode, I'm going to preface a little bit on what this podcast is about. Like, how is it, like, do we need another podcast? There's like 1,000 podcasts out there in the world, right? So what I'm trying to build, or what I'm trying to introduce out here is Bitcoin lifestyle. Like, what is it actually like to live a life transformed by Bitcoin? We already heard a lot of podcasts about you, your business, like strategy as a whole, technical analysis, like finance, all that stuff. I'm not the one for that. We got Tim Kotzman or like all these other people who can interview you on that. I'm here to talk to you more about Phong Le, the human, the person. Like, who are you? So let's begin, right? Okay, who are you, and what is the actual day-to-day life like for Mr. Phong Le, CEO of Stragedy?
Yeah. Well, those are two very different questions. Who am I, and what is my day-to-day life as CEO of Stragedy? Because I don't like defining myself by my work, right? Although that is that's at least half of my day is my work. But I'm a happily married for 22 years now, almost 22 years. I have 3 beautiful children, 19-year-old son, Owen, an 18-year-old daughter, Maya, and a 13-year-old daughter, Nora, and my wife. And so that's more who I am than my work.
And what does your day-to-day like then in Stragedy?
Yeah.
Like,
every day is different. What I like about being CEO, but what I like about working at Stragedy is, and for 30 minutes I'm meeting with you and the great team you have, and I'm doing this interview. Another 30 minutes I might be talking about our Bitcoin custody strategy. Another 30 minutes I might be talking to a CIO or a CEO of a major retailer who's a customer of ours. And another 30 minutes I might be talking about what is our HR strategy and how we use AI in HR. And so there is no typical. I usually do meetings in 30-minute chunks, so I can be as high bandwidth and get as much done as possible. And I will literally fill up a day from 8:30 until 6:30 with 30-minute chunks of action.
Busy
and activity.
man. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But you love that, like the dynamic kind of like life.
Yeah, it's got to change. Like it's I was a consultant for 12 years of my career, and after I did something for a year, I get bored and try something new, right? Like constantly changing. So for me, I used to be a coder, and I would literally write like one segment of code and spend 8 hours on it, and that was okay. But this, I'm not doing that. I'm just every half hour, I'm context changing all the time, and it's just so much fun. Go high, go low, go wide, go deep, talk to customers, have people yelling at you because they don't like you, have people, saying such great things to you because they love you. That, like, to me, that's excitement.
Oh my gosh. Like, I can't even imagine the difference, I guess, because, before you were already like doing a lot of stuff before the Bitcoin strategy, Bitcoin treasury stuff, and you were already dynamically doing different things. But now with the Bitcoin stuff, it's gotten even more intense.
Yeah.
Right? It's
even more change.
Yeah. And I just wonder, like, what has it been like for you personally? Because I guess in order to run a company like Stragedy, to be business partners, partners with Michael Saylor, someone who's so obsessed with Bitcoin. What has your Bitcoin journey been like? Has it been like transformative? Like, how did it change your life? Like, when did it start?
So it started in 2020, but you could argue it really started early on. When I was born in Vietnam, and my family escaped the country post-war. We were boat people, and I came to, of all places, Syracuse, New York. Which is, for those who don't know, Syracuse is upstate New York. It's not like New York City. Think New York City and think of the exact opposite, right? That's Syracuse, New York. Very manufacturing heavy, and we came over very poor. We had no money, and I experienced what it was like to have nothing, and then have a lot of tremendous charity. In the U.S. provide us an ability for my parents to go to vocational school, to get jobs, we went to church and they would give us free clothes, and I had that wonderful experience. And I also remember my parents, who were on welfare at that point in time, would often send money back to their family in Vietnam. Very small quantities of money. I don't know exactly how much, but no more than a few $100s, right? Like once a quarter. And how difficult that was to do. So here it is, they escaped a country, they found freedom in the US, and they found physical freedom, they found political freedom But when it came to money, they were on a welfare system, they were making minimum wage, they were raising 2 and then 3 kids, and their ability to actually take their own money and give it back to their family in Vietnam was very difficult. It's still very difficult for folks today. The time it took and the transaction fees that were paid to somebody to do so. So they found physical freedom, they found political freedom, but they didn't really find financial freedom. And so I look back upon that experience, and it sticks with me, right? And now I have what I would say is perceived as financial freedom, having the opportunity to work at a place like Stragedy, working on something as important as Bitcoin. And, it goes back to, we talk a lot about how Bitcoin is freedom money, but it releases, whether it be the persecuted in a war-torn country, a refugee who's escaped that country, somebody who is trying to, have financial freedom, not making a lot of money, to somebody who is high net worth individual. Bitcoin provides freedom all across the spectrum to everybody. And so when I started going deep down the rabbit hole of Bitcoin, that was one of the things that was most interesting to me.
Yeah.
And then if you think about, we've talked a lot about where Stragedy was as a company in 2020. We were a company whose revenue was flat to slightly increasing, whose operating margins were flat to slightly increasing, who had very little interest in the shareholder base, who had very few prospects to grow to the level we wanted to grow. And Bitcoin provided freedom to Stragedy too.
Yeah, when you were talking about your family and your household and like the whole story really resonates with like, I guess a lot of us, like me as well, from coming from like Southeast Asia and stuff like that. Financial freedom is like a luxury, like a dream for a lot of us. How do we achieve that? And Bitcoin really is a way for us to achieve that and learn more about what freedom truly is. What has it been like for your family? Do they think you're crazy? Are they on board with it? Like, you have kids, right? So do the older kids get it, or is it the younger kids who get it?
It's interesting. I would say between my wife and my kids, they are becoming more and more interested in learning. In 2020, they thought it was a fad. And I wouldn't say they were hoping it would go away, but they thought it was a fad and they weren't sure what to think of it. And now they know it's something that's provided us great, tremendous financial freedom. And has a lot of shareholders and a lot of just people in general have attached themselves to Stragedy, and they see that more. They see that more than they ever have before, and they have reason to believe it. My greatest accomplishment was orange pilling my sister-in-law.
Oh, wow.
And, for whatever reason, she's, very, very intelligent. Not that the rest of my family aren't. She's very open to learning and listening. And I think over the period of a couple of dinners, I orange pilled her. And this was right around Thanksgiving of 2021, right? I'll call it at a peak of a Bitcoin cycle. And she had to do all of her KYC, AML, and literally she couldn't buy in until I think it was February 2022, literally when Bitcoin was around 60K. And it crashed after that. So I didn't talk to her about Bitcoin at all.
Was she okay?
I don't know. I didn't talk to her about it. I was like, we didn't talk about it because I was, and I held and she held and everything, and now we talk about it all the time.
Okay. So she held the whole time.
Yeah, she held.
That's true conviction. That's awesome. Because it took a while for it to come back.
It did.
Yeah. So your sister-in-law. So then your brother or
my brother and sister are not Bitcoiners. Right?
So your brother and sister are not, but your sister-in-law is.
My sister-in-law is, because I orange pilled her. I think my parents are interested in the concept of Bitcoin, but my family's coming around. A lot of my friends too. So
they're probably calling you out.
One by one. But to truly understand Bitcoin, you have to open your mind. Like I know a lot of people and who are closed-minded, right? Like who go into it and just believe all of the things that they hear, the snippets, the clips. But once people, as you know, are willing to do the work, willing to understand the technology, understand the economics, understand the social and political positivities of Bitcoin, they all come around.
I can see that. Like your whole company has transformed. There's lots of people in the company prior to the transformation. You as the CEO who has, been in charge of this like cultural change in the company, what has that been like? You orange pill your family, but like, has the whole organization been orange pilled?
Well, they had to, because we decided in August of last year we're going to culturally transform the company.
Yeah.
And part of that was in sort of the 21 rules of Bitcoin, spread Bitcoin with love. I think it was Rule 21, and we said in the company we're going to spread Bitcoin with love, which means we're going to create content for everyone to learn.
Yeah.
I think, one of the great saying, many sayings about Bitcoin, but, Bitcoin comes first to those who need it, right? And
Bitcoin inside is limited to those.
Yeah, so if you take my family, for example, my kids, they don't need necessarily Bitcoin, so it didn't come to them. But, if you take my upbringing, people who are refugees or people who come from countries where they don't have financial freedom, they learn about Bitcoin first. Yeah. If you talk about companies, right, like Mike talked about it last week, Stragedy, Metaplanet, right, Saylor will find out about Bitcoin much sooner than Microsoft will find out about Bitcoin, because they don't need it. And that's true with our employee group too, right? Like most of our employees here are well-to-do, working for a well-established software company, software engineers. They don't need to learn about Bitcoin. Right, and so we realized with what we've been doing for the last 4 years with a small percentage of our company, 10 employees, that we needed the rest of the employees, the rest of the 1,500 to learn about it. Yeah. And what was really amazing is once we created content for people, well curated to people, of like minds in this company, everybody came around really fast. Like they learned the content. It was, we've now done Bitcoin 100, 102, 103, 104, like four quarters worth of content for all of our employees to train on. It's the most popular training we have. Right? We put it out and you have 90 days to do it. They'll do it in the first 5 days.
Wow.
Yeah, they love the content.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's so interesting that you say, like from the conference, we saw so many different people come, like, your people who were with Stragedy before, when they were MicroStrategy, before the transformation and everything. And there are some people with the need to know, they come and they're like asking you, okay, how do I do it? Like Saylor, Metaplanet, they're in that situation. How do you kind of like expect the next few years to be? Because I remember you saying that right now there might be 70 companies who are Bitcoin treasury companies, but in the next year there'll be 700 companies that are Bitcoin treasury companies. So those who do have the need to know, like you say, like, what do you think is like the most important thing for them to understand now about this? And if they want to, what can they do now? Like, what stuff does Stragedy have?
Yeah, I mean, we really laid the playbook, like the groundwork for Bitcoin for corporations, right? We've created what you need to do in terms of accounting and finance and legal and board and governance. We've created now KPIs and metrics. We've created a suite of banks who are very friendly to Bitcoin, a suite of law firms, advisors. So what I'd say is we've done a lot of work over the last 4 or 5 years, purposefully curated it so others can do this.
Yeah.
Now the key is, right, like there's just stay true to the strategy, right? Like buy and hold, right? Like and where it gets dicey are companies who are going to come in and try to do things that I would say are not right down the middle, right? Like Bitcoin only, buy and hold, right? Lever up to a certain extent to buy more Bitcoin, but do it in an intelligent way, right? And so I think the more the merrier, but I think as people come in, some folks are going to try to innovate and do things that we haven't done. That's great. Yeah. But like I would just sort of take it easy would be my advice to everybody. There's a really good formula for how to do this. Yeah. And if people work within those bounds, they'll be successful, and we'll cheer them on. I think it'll be great. Yeah,
and I can see that because there was so many people right at the conference who are interested in Bitcoin and like wanting to know more. And you guys are already providing so much good content, like you yourself doing these podcasts with me, and like Michael doing the most, like he's been the biggest Bitcoin evangelist over the past 4 years. My question, and this is an audience question actually, lots of people want to know, what has it been like for you working with Michael Saylor, and have you guys had any fights? Because adopting a Bitcoin, like standard Bitcoin strategy might be, was there tension in the beginning? How do you guys get on the same page?
We had a lot more tension running a software company than we did running a Bitcoin treasury company. And I'll tell you the reason is running a software company is very challenging.
Yeah.
Right? You're competing with enterprise software monopolies.
Yeah.
You're competing with brilliant people who decide they want to go into enterprise software, start a startup, get backed by a VC with, bottomless amount of funding. And it's a high margin, high growth business if you get it right. And it's tried and true. There are a lot of people who've done it. And so it's very, very hard to compete and to differentiate. The fact that we've been doing this for 35 years is a testament to how solid the product is and how sticky it is with our customers. But it's hard. And when it's hard, naturally we'll have differences in product strategy and marketing strategy and people strategy. He's a different people person than I am, as you can imagine, right? Like we agree on many things, and he's, we're now seeing a different side of Michael because of Bitcoin. Now you shift to us working together on Bitcoin when there's no clear path. It's not like we can say, oh, this is how it has to be done. Let's argue now on your opinion versus my opinion. We're just inventing it as we go along. And in that case, we're working together, right?
Yeah.
And so in that case, it's actually a lot easier. Yeah, sure, we have disagreements on capital, strategy, and we have disagreements on this and that, but they're not like we did in the software space. And look, Mike has changed. The Mike now is a lot different than the Mike from 10 years ago that I knew when I first started working with him. And my opinion is Bitcoin freed him. It freed him to do what he does best, which is he's a product guy, right? Bitcoin is his product. He's the product. He's an evangelist. He evangelizes better than anybody in the world.
Yeah.
He's an inventor. He invents almost better than anybody in the world. Now he's doing what he loves to do. And like if you observe people in life, people who don't like their job, right? People who it's a job to them. It's not a lifestyle. It's not. Then they're sort of miserable. They're difficult to get along with, and they fight.
Yeah.
People who are doing their life's work and they're loving it and they're enjoying it, they're less combative. They're happier. They smile more, and that's where Mike is now.
Wow. Bitcoin is the solution to all your problems.
Bitcoin solves everything.
Yeah, that was his that was his one thing he wants people to know.
It fixes everything.
It fixed Michael a little bit too.
It did. I think it's made him, certainly, it's made me a better person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's probably made you a better person.
It's honestly changed my life too.
Yeah.
Like when you were, I interviewed you for that one little question. I asked, what was it? And you said it was freedom.
Yeah.
That aligns so much with me, because the reason I can pursue this now, the reason I can build a career that is aligned with, what I love, Bitcoin and God and all these different things, is because of me having the security of Bitcoin and having the financial security, abundance, or whatever, to travel the world and meet cool people, come to Strategy Hub in the US.
I've got your team here from Bangkok, Thailand, came and visited us in headquarters to talk Bitcoin and have a beer. I mean,
that's crazy.
It's awesome.
It's so fun, guys. Learn about Bitcoin, study Bitcoin. Okay, so I do have a few more questions from the audience for you. So you have been in so many rooms with a lot of great leaders, probably more than most other people, right? And you had to talk Bitcoin and orange pill them. What has been, or what is your advice for anyone who's trying to do that and talk to business leaders, or just anyone, the easiest or the most efficient way you found to orange pill someone?
One thing that I like to do is understand where people come from, right? What their backgrounds are, what their interests are. Because really, we joke Bitcoin is the solution to everything. Well, you have to find what the one thing that person needs the solution to, right? Does the person need a solution to their personal store value, right? Does that one person need a solution for their company? Does that one person need a solution to growth or to marketing? So what is it they need a solution to? And then you talk to them. And so there isn't an answer that works for every person, but there is the one answer that works for every single person that you talk to. And I think that's true with Bitcoin, but it's true in life, right? You got to listen to where the person came from, what impacts them, what influenced them, which is why when I met you, wanted to hear about you.
Yeah.
and where you came from.
Yeah, and now we're here.
Yeah.
I'm hearing about you.
Yeah.
The Phong Li. Okay, so last main question before we get into our lightning round.
Ooh, okay.
Is what is the future of strategy in the next 10 years? Like, what do you guys see? Like, are you guys looking to implement or like add Bitcoin and AI? Because right now, as what we've seen is like Bitcoin is your treasury company. It's kind of separate to the MicroStrategy, the AI, BI side. Like, is there a world where you guys blend that together? Or are you still exploring that? Like, what's going on?
I don't know that we know where this will all go. I think on the Bitcoin side, we have clarity of vision that we want to add more capital to strategy, form equity and debt, to buy more Bitcoin and to grow our Bitcoin holdings, grow our premium to our net asset value, and at some point in time be $1 trillion Bitcoin company, right? And maybe more than that, right? We want to securitize Bitcoin, offer it to everybody that wants access to Bitcoin, and I think you have seen in the last year where that strategy is going with products like Strike and Strife and whatever else we're about to do. That side of the world. And those who came to strategy world understand that we have a similar vision when it comes to data and analytics, right? Which is you need to free your data just like you have to free your money. And we've been on that mission for the last 35 years with analytics and business intelligence. And I think with the advent of AI, and the product we're calling Mosaic, we're going to give people back control of their data. And I think that's going to take off, right? And so will that become a $1 trillion business? That'd be difficult. Could it become a $30 billion business? I'd love to see that happen. And then when it becomes a $30 million business, could it become a $300 billion business? I'd love to see that happen too. But I think both strategies are great. And will they intersect more over time? Probably. How exactly? 5-10 years from now, we'll find out. Because the other thing that we are is we're inventors. Yeah. Right. And some inventors say, I had that idea 10 years ago and I finally put it into place. And some inventors will say, I had that idea yesterday and I put it into place. And so I believe in that. Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, it's like about being at the right place, right time, the execution. You guys have been proven leaders within this space, like innovation and all that. So, whatever happens and wherever a strategy may go, I feel like it will be like a glorious path towards it. And like from hearing you and how you guys like figure out issues and problems with Michael and everything, I think it's gonna be a good time, right? It's a great time. The irony of all of this is before Bitcoin in the software world, the idea was to create a software company that had significant recurring revenue and got to $1 billion valuation. It became a unicorn, if you will. And what did that look like? You would tinker and you'd build some piece of software, consumer enterprise software, and your goal was to get to $100 million ARR. And very, very few companies can do that. Yeah. And then if you get to $100 million ARR and you're growing 100% a year or 50% a year, maybe you get $1 billion valuation. Yeah. That's everybody's goal when they enter the software world. Well, we did that. We did that, in 2000, right? And Mike did that. And so what we have as a software company today is what most entrepreneurs and inventors' goal was. Yeah. Nobody thought the goal was to create a $100 billion Bitcoin treasury company. Nobody said it. Nobody wakes up and says 5 years ago, hey, everyone wakes up and says, my goal is to be a $100 million ARR, $1 billion unicorn software company. Well, if everyone's pursuing that, you guys can have fun with that. Yeah. We went and pursued the thing that was nobody's goal. The $100 billion going to $1 trillion Bitcoin treasury company. And that's what's cool. That's actually been insane. Like just being here, being in the US, going to Strategy World, I am so inspired by you guys. For today, I think that is it for the main questions. We have lightning round. Okay, let's do it. Lightning round is just a few questions, but I want you to answer really quickly. Don't think too much about it. What is your favorite book? My favorite book, I have a few, but I'll go the quickest one, was Blindness. Okay. By Jose Sirigamu. I think they made a movie out of it. Is that also your favorite movie? Because that's the next question. What's your favorite movie? Oh, Pulp Fiction. I love Quentin Tarantino. Oh.
all good?
I remember exactly where I was in college when I watched it, the theater I was at, the friends I was with, and what I did afterwards. It was one of those life-changing moments where you watched a movie and you're like, what just happened?
So you highly recommend this movie?
It's amazing. It's still amazing.
Okay, if you guys watch Pulp Fiction, tag Fung, Digital Fung. You're going to be more active on the Digital Fung Lee and then let him know. Okay, do you play any sports?
I love basketball.
Oh, okay.
Right, especially my height helps with it. But you know, I grew up in Syracuse, New York, which is a basketball town, and I love playing basketball. I still play basketball to this day. Almost every Sunday morning, I play with a bunch of old guys.
Are we gonna get like a strategy basketball?
Maybe.
Strategy orange Bitcoin basketball?
Yeah, maybe at some point in time.
Oh, that would be so good. Okay, what is your main hobby?
Oh, my main hobby. I love to travel with my family, and now that my kids are out of the house. Very rarely, you know, do we get all 5 of the family members back together, and it's just magical for the first 48 hours.
Yeah,
and then after that we start arguing. But that first 48 hours when we're together as a family, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Okay, almost done. What is your go-to takeaway food?
So I love Vietnamese food,
Yeah,
right?
same.
And so I'll do like pho as a takeaway. Any Vietnamese food.
Okay, what is the most interesting city you've been to?
Oh, interesting city I've been to. So 2 places, you know, go back to my Vietnamese roots. I love Saigon.
Okay.
Right. So that's cool. I lived in Sao Paulo for a long time, for a couple of years, not that long. Sao Paulo is such a cool, vibrant, diverse, dynamic, emotional city. And it's raw. I love it.
Okay, that's awesome. Now, I know I already asked you this, but it is the last question of all my podcasts. What is one thing about Bitcoin you want everyone to know?
Okay, so it's funny you say it's the last question you ask in all your podcasts, because this is your first podcast.
Yeah, but it will be. I am going to be that girl when people see me, they'll be like, oh, is she going to ask what's the one thing about Bitcoin? That is the manifestation.
Yeah, so I've told you this, and I said at the beginning, I think Bitcoin's freedom. Bitcoin's freedom for every person, every company, every country. And I think it provides people freedom from whatever it is they need freedom from.
Amazing. That's perfect. Concise. Good. Well, thank you, Phong, for today.
Thank you.
I asked for 30 minutes. I think I'm slightly over, but it's been amazing.
Yeah.
I think we'll have more to talk about over dinner today. But
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah. So cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's it, guys.